Okay, everybody, for those of you who don't know, my name is Michael Forrest, and welcome to It's Quest Time. Now, before we get going, if I can ask you if you can stay off of this raised up stage here, this way nobody blocks the display, and it gives me a little bit of room to move around, do the whole hosting thing, right? If I can direct your attention to the menu wheel in your lower left, you're going to notice that the collection of circles there at the very top, that is a microphone icon. When that microphone icon is clear, that means we can hear you and everything that's happening in your environment. So we've gone ahead and we've turned that to red, and that means you're muted. So if somebody comes into your space and says, hey, are you still on that thing? We're not going to be able to hear that, so feel free to answer them. Likewise, if maybe you have like a barking dog or something like that, we're not going to hear that. You won't face social ruin back at the campfire by becoming known as the avatar that suddenly started barking during its quest time, right? Now, let's see here. Now, just because you're muted doesn't mean you can't express yourself. You're going to notice that you have a pink cheeked smiley face in your menu wheel there. When you click on it, your emoji panel is going to open up in front of you. And if I share something really deep, really powerful, really meaningful, and it builds up inside you, you can just let it out, just let it flow, just like that. If maybe I've got some backup dancers backstage and we break into, It's Quest Time, the musical, and you're all very impressed, you can throw up the applause I live for, and I can take a moment to drink it all in because it feels good. All right. Oh, yeah, that is nice. Look at that. Wow. All right. Now, if I ask you guys a yes or no question, you could say yes by smiling like this. You could say no by frowning like this. Maybe I say something funny, you want to show me you're laughing, you can do the silly face emoji like this. And then there's this. This is not how you ask a question. We will be taking questions and comments at the end. When you put your hand up like that, I know that there's a problem that I need to address. Like maybe I'm moving my arms around here and it looks like, I'm talking and you're like, hey, that guy looks like he's talking. What is he saying? And you can't hear anything. That's the kind of thing like that. Or maybe the display behind me bursts into flames. Don't laugh. Our mods have been known to occasionally try to burn down the set. It does happen. And, that's the kind of thing I want to know about when that kind of happens. All right. And you also have an X in the middle of this panel that'll close it. But it's a good idea to leave it open during events like this. This way, it gives me some feedback, lets me know how I'm doing. But more importantly, lets the people around you know what you're experiencing. So if the person next to you starts going like this, well, that means they found something funny. And you may not agree. You might be like, well, that's not funny at all. That's not funny. I don't like that. I'm going to go stand over here. And you can do that because this is VR. And feel free to do that kind of thing. All right, now while you got those panels open, let me ask that question. How many of you are on a quest right now? Show me some hearts. Give me some love if you're on a quest. You don't even got to use emojis. Just put your hand up. Give some body language. All right, that's a lot of Quest users. All right, cool. How many of you are new to Altspace? You're just starting out. Get a chance to welcome our new Altspace users. All right, that's a lot of you. Wow. Yeah, we keep getting a lot of new users lately. That's cool. How many of you recently got your Quest? Like you're very new to the experience. All right, that's a few of you. That's good to know. How many of you are coming from an Oculus Go? All right, anybody? That's a few. All right, cool. That's a few of you. Gives me an idea. How many of you get any of that crazy weather coming out on the East Coast? One of us of the U.S.? A few of you? Yeah, it's crazy. And if I should suddenly disappear, that's why. Net only usually goes out for a couple of minutes. If I do disappear, I will be back in a couple of minutes. So just feel free to hang out. I will make my best attempt to get back there. But our net's been known to drop when weather gets like this because I happen to be on top of a mountain, which has nothing to do with the quest. Nothing at all. All right, so let's see. Here we go. Let's see. So yeah, we're gonna start out now. When I was waiting for my quest to arrive, right? I couldn't wait for this thing to come because I was on an Oculus Go at the time, and I grew up in Brooklyn, so I talk with my hands a lot. You'll see my hands moving a lot while I'm talking up here. And when I was on a Go, all anybody saw was my hand going like this, right? And I didn't feel like I was expressing myself in Altspace as fully as I could with two hands. But then when my Quest finally did arrive, I took a good look at the controls and I realized that's a lot of buttons. And some of them, listen, if you're here today, you already have a handle on the basics. The left thumbstick's going to move you around like this. The right thumbstick's going to move you around like this. And, if you combine them, you can combine them into these big circles that make my presentation so much more dramatic. If everybody could go like that, give me some big circles out there, because this way when I look at it, it looks like you guys are ballroom dancing. Let's get a look and see what that looks like. Let me say, oh, wow, that's nice. Oh, that's cool. I wish I had some music. That's awesome. All right, well, I always say I wish you guys could see what I'm seeing when I look out and I see this, and now you can. We have a YouTube channel. If you look up at Raven Eye up there floating in the air, that's our YouTube channel. So if you want, you can wave on out. You got in the pink hat here, you got Need for Speed. The gentleman with the beard here is Martinus. We've got in the yellow, we've got Paul. We've got Brandon in the blue. In the other blue, we got Aaron. We've got Tashi 77. We got Fresh Boy 67. What are numbers? We got Sean Connery. Wow, Sean Connery, it's an honor. Wow, I like your movies, man. Good stuff. All right, nice to see you. Wave out to YouTube, but you're probably used to the cameras. Okay, let's see what else we got. All right, so now these buttons are a lot to take in. It's the purposes aren't always immediately apparent, and sometimes they do more than one thing. So I like to go over this stuff. If you're already comfortable with the controls, don't worry about it. We do some movement exercises that can, still make it fun while everybody gets skilled up. All right. So let's take a look at some of them now. We have on your right and left control, you have this grip button here and this grip button right here. This is going to allow you to interact with your environment in Altspace. It's going to how you grab, basketballs and fireworks and sparklers. It's how I'm grabbing this laser pointer right here, and I can move it from hand to hand just by squeezing my grip buttons like that, right? And if you're grabbing something in the World Editor, if you have the World Beta program enabled on your main menu, and you're building worlds with your own two hands, right? You're holding an object in World Editor, and you go to turn, you're going to notice, well, you didn't just turn, the object changed size. And that's because when you're holding an object in the World Editor, the behavior of your right thumbstick is going to change. When you move that right thumbstick from right to left, the scale or the size of the object is going to change. And if you move your thumbstick forward or back while you're grabbing an object, right, it's going to push the object away from you, or it's going to pull it close to you, right? So it's important to keep that in mind. Oh, I see some frowns going up here. That makes you sad? No, building worlds is great. Gotta enjoy that. Gotta embrace it. All right, cool. What else we got? Now, also speaking of different button behaviors here, you're on the left thumbstick here, right? Now, this is going to be like when I first got my Quest, I went to the campfire to test it out, right? And I was feeling good. I was feeling like I was floating on air. I was on top of the world. And I looked around and I noticed everybody was like kind of shorter than me, right? And I'm like, what's going on? What's everybody? How did I get so tall all of a sudden, right? And on the Quest, you need to worry about your vertical height. So like if because I look down and I'm floating like this high off the ground, right? If anybody's willing to change the vertical height for me, we got let's see, Tommy 821 here. Tommy, if you press on your left thumbstick, show everybody what happens when you press on that. Press on that left thumbstick and see what happens. No, you don't want to do that? All right, you don't want to change your height? Cool. All right, let's see. We got Brandon. Brandon, you willing to give it a shot? There you go. Press on your left thumbstick. Show everybody what happens when you press down on it. There you go. Boom. You see how it like snaps into place like that? It's called recentering. We also have Aaron. Aaron is doing it. Aaron, like press down on the thumbstick and snap into place. Show everybody. See? So if you find that your vertical height change and you feel like it's off and you want to be more comfortable, just press down on that left thumbstick and you'll recenter. All right, and that'll take care of that. All right. Also on your left controller, right? Down on the bottom, there's this flat button, and the purpose isn't always clear as to what that is. What can happen is if you're having a room scale experience, you walk out past your menus, for some reason, that's always a point in time where somebody's going to tell you to open your main menu, right? And you're going to be like, oh man, where is this thing? And you're looking around for it, and it's like always behind you, right? So but it's important to remember that on a Quest, your main menu is in your hand at all times. That flat button on your left controller on the bottom there, anytime you press it, your menu is going to open up. I'll be honest with you, I haven't touched that blue and white triangle button in months. Whenever I open my main menu, I just flick my left hand out like that and press that flat button. You don't have to flick your hand like that. I just think it's cool, right? So like, I'm sitting there and someone says, open your main menu. I'm like, okay, flick. Now my menu's open. Flick, there, now my menu's closed, right? And, feel free to do that too. This way it's a good way to open and close your menu very quickly. Now you also have on your left controller here, you have this trigger button here, right? And this is going to cause you to accelerate when you're walking or flying around. If I start going like this, right, I'm going to start going faster. I'm going to throw myself in the audience, and maybe we can go into a big circle, right? Maybe we can make a hurricane in here. If you're getting dizzy, don't do this thing, all right? But, if you're going around here, it can maybe make a tornado type thing, Probably not a good thing to do on a windy day, but let me see. Let me get a look at how we're organized today. How's it going? Let's see. All right, that is nothing like a circle, okay? It's kind of like a figure eight, sort of, and I'm being very generous, audience. That's not circular at all. All right, this is not shaping up. All right, I see hands going up. People are probably dizzy. Might want to stop this thing. All right, okay. All right, let's see. That's enough of that. Let's see what else do we have here. Now, it's important that while these are a lot of buttons, one good thing is some of these buttons do the same thing, right? You're going to notice that on your right control, you have this select button, and you have your right trigger, and if you have your left pointer enabled, this left select button here, right? Anytime you hold these down, right, and you move through the crowd, you're going to see everybody's name tags appear above their head, and that's how I know everybody's name so quickly. That's how I knew it was Jimmy that was raising his hand before. Thanks for stopping that, because I was starting to get pretty dizzy too. We got Brandon, we got Master Max. So you can get everybody's name really quickly just by moving your hand around, just like that, while holding down the trigger or one of those select buttons. So that's like, that takes out 3 buttons, so that makes things like a lot easier, right? You also have on your right and left controllers a teleport button, so you can teleport anytime you want. I hope you're in a line dash teleport. I think that's like the most fun transition because you feel like you're flinging yourself, and let's see, if you stand up along this left wall here, actually, is it your left? Yeah, it is. If you're facing the stage, it's your left. I did that right. All right, so if you stand up along this wall here, right, and you hold down that teleport button, you aim at the floor, you're going to see a circular target appear on the floor. right? And if you hold it out across the room and you suddenly let go of that teleport button, boom, you get thrown right across the room. Oh, I already did that good. Everybody got here before I did. Okay, I'm starting to lose my touch. All right, but if you hold down that left teleport button now and aim it across the room, right? As soon as you let go of that button, boom, you get thrown right across the room. You can also hold down both of these teleport buttons at once and make kind of an X on the floor. And as soon as you let go, you get the zigzag motion, right? Kind of zigzag like that. If you're facing the stage, maybe, right, you hold down that left accelerator button and you start going backwards and aim at the floor with your teleport button, you can kind of do the Altspace moonwalk, right? You can even, right, one time, I just found this out a couple of weeks ago because you never stop learning this stuff, right? I was standing out here, like, down at the bottom of the stage here, and I had a, crowd around me, and I had to get back on the stage. I actually reached my hand up over my head backwards, and boom, you can teleport backwards. Isn't that cool, right? I love that. All right, still not old. I really enjoy that. When I first started getting a handle on this stuff, I was at the Universe, and back then it was held at a really large world, right? And when it was over, I went over to explore, and I'm going toward the edge of the world, and I'm looking down, and all of a sudden I fell off, right? And as I'm falling, I look over and I see this cliff on the side there, and as I'm falling, I'm like, oh no! And I aim at that cliff with the teleport, lock onto it, and boom! I threw myself right onto the cliff. And at that moment, I knew I was starting to get a handle on the controls. Right? There's going to come a moment, you're going to remember me saying this, that like you're going to get, you're always going to feel the plastic in your hands, but there's going to come a moment where these actually become your hands. Like if I say, suddenly go, hey, everybody, look out that window. I don't think about how I'm pointing. I just do it. Oh, wow, everybody pointed back. That was cool. You did the whole spin thing. Look at that. That's awesome. I love that. All right. So now if you hold these hands up like this, for those of you that don't know, I'm squeezing my grip buttons on either controller, and that's making me point, right? And I can do a lot of things with this, right? I can give everybody the Brooklyn hello. Everybody give me a Brooklyn hello like that. Oh, that's awesome. I love seeing that. Now, if we put our hands together like this and hold them up high, we can do the Altspace logo. Get some Altspace love going in here. Oh, that's awesome. Now we can twist them together, make like a frame. I think it'd be great to be able to make a screenshot like this, right? You can squeeze the trigger, like snap it, make this moment last forever, just like that, right? That's cool. Yeah, you look good, audience. Don't move. Oh, that looks awesome, just like that. All right. Now you can squeeze down your trigger buttons and get 2 thumbs up. Lets me know how I'm doing, right? Maybe I'm not doing a good job. You can go like this, 2 thumbs down, like that, right? You can twist them from side to side like this, and then maybe, you don't know. It's a little bit of both, right? Put them together like that. If you touch your thumbs to the buttons of the thumbstick, you're going to find your thumbs go down, right? So you can kind of, combine that in like sort of a dance move, just like that, right? I'm told that this doesn't look as cool as it feels, but I like it. I'm going to keep on doing that and keep on dancing, right? Just like that. And, one of the first Quest times, somebody came up to the stage, and there was actually a few people, and were going like this, because our event team name is Ravenhall, right? And everybody was going like this. I thought it was really cool. Oh, look at this person's going up as they do it. Brandon, that was cool. Do that again. Brandon's flying, everybody. Look at that. That's awesome. All right. Now, when you see somebody do something cool like Brandon's doing here, right? The best way to learn this stuff is by mirroring it. So anytime you see somebody doing something neat, just copy it, and there's going to come a time where you're going to do this stuff without even thinking about it. It's going to become automatic after a while. All right, now, on your right controller, there's another button to be aware of, and that's a flat button right here. What's my pointer? Where's my pointer? Oh, here it is. Okay. On the right controller, don't press this now. If you disappear, I'm going to feel it. If you press this flat button right here, this is the best way out of Altspace. It's the best way to leave. When you press that, you got to think of that like an eject button, right? So like you eject yourself out of Altspace, you're going to see, you get taken to the Oculus menu, and you'll have a choice to quit or resume. And if you press resume, you get taken right back into Altspace, which is great if you press it by accident. Like if you're dancing around the Universe, right, and you're having a good time, and all of a sudden you accidentally press that button, all you have to do is hit resume, and you'll come back, and no one's even going to notice you're gone. You're going to be like, I don't think anybody saw that. All right, cool. I'm going to keep on dancing. I don't think anyone noticed. All right, I'm looking good. All right, it's fine. All right, good. All right. But this is a good button to press when things go wrong. So like, let's say you move your head from side to side, the whole world moves with you, right? And that could make you feel kind of sick. And when that happens, you're going to need like a quick way to get out. This way, you can, feel okay, right? So you press on that flat button, and then you hit quit, and you restart the app, and that's going to solve most of the problems that you're going to have in Altspace. However, sometimes something's going to go wrong. Like maybe I turn my head to the left, and there's this black void over there, and I'm like, uh-oh. And I look to the right, and there's a black void there, and I look up and down, and I'm like, oh no, it's spreading. And I look straight ahead on the screen, and I see all my friends, and they're frozen like this. Oh, I know my headset's frozen and something's gone wrong. So I press that, eject button, and nothing happens. My device is completely frozen. What do I do? Well, in an instance like this, you're going to want to restart your headset. And in the beginning, I would take my headset off to do this. But what can happen is if it's not in a charge cycle and it's plugged in, you see the charge light isn't coming on, and it could take so long to restart your headset. It takes about like 20-something seconds to do it. And, it's a long time, especially if you're in a rush. So you may get to feeling like your device is broken. That's what I thought, because the light wasn't coming on. And I got into the habit, and I think it's a good idea to do, if you have restart your headset while it's still on your head. And the way you do this to get in the habit of it is you take your index finger and you swipe it up and down on the side of your device, on the right side of the device, and you're going to feel a raised up button there. Now what you do is you take your other index finger and you put it on the other side. Now you squeeze these things together here. And what I like to do is I like to look down like I'm concentrating, right? And I'm like going in that pose. And I concentrate so hard that after about 4 seconds, my device shuts off, right? My avatar disappears and I get plunged into the darkness. After about 10 seconds, I start to wonder, why did Oculus make this take so long? After about 15 seconds, I start thinking about friends I haven't seen in years. I wonder how they're doing, after about 20 questions, the big questions, they start thinking about life. 20 seconds go by, 20 something seconds go by. And then out of the darkness, the Oculus logo emerges like a bat signal, right? And then it starts to pulse. And when it starts to pulse like that, right, you take your fingers away just like that. And your device is going to restart as normal at that point, and you're going to see the app, you restart the app there, and you come right back into Altspace, and this is going to take care of almost all the problems you can have in here. But what can happen from time to time is something serious will happen. Like one time I come out of Altspace, and there's an alert there that says Oculus Home is closing. I'd never seen this before. So there was a blue button there that says, press OK. It being the only option, I pressed OK. And then the screen just said loading, and this went on for like 2 minutes. So I went into my deep concentration pose. I went into the darkness. When I came out of it, right, the screen still said loading. I knew there was a problem. So I asked my good friend Google about it. Google knows stuff. We go back a while. And Google said that a lot of people were having this problem. And the only thing I can really do to fix it was a factory reset. Right now, this is, it's good to know that this is an option, but please bear in mind that if you use a factory reset, you're going to lose all your pictures. You're going to have to reinstall your app, all of your apps. Good news is you won't have to pay for them again. All right, but you will have to re-download them, and you're going to lose all of your settings. You might even lose your Beat Saber scores. All right, this is very serious business. You only use this as an item of last resort, and it basically puts the headset back the way it was the day you got it. All right, so it's important to know that is an option. Now, if you're here today, you're already familiar with the Guardian system. I mentioned earlier about getting dizzy, right? If this happens to you, one trick you can do is, if you're getting dizzy in VR, just look at your hand. Hold your hand up to your face like that, and focus on your hand. And as soon as the dizziness starts to pass, you take the hand away, and you take in the world around you. This can help an awful lot, but you can also use your Guardian system to do this. Now, I like to say, when you mess with your Guardian system, please be very careful. You don't want to injure yourself, and you don't want to, you don't want to damage your device either. But a lot of times in Altspace, you'll see somebody walking along like this, and all of a sudden they go bam, like that, right? Because they hit a wall in the real world. You don't want to do that. It's a good idea to lead with your hands, right? And as you lead with your hands, you're going to come up to your, when you get to the edge of your Guardian, you're going to see that grid appear in the air in front of you, right by your hands. And you can still touch your thumbsticks, right? So let's say I walk up to my real world wall right now, right? And I stick my hands out, and I see that grid appear in the air in front of me. But I can still touch my thumbsticks, so I can move my avatar around without moving away from that wall. And I can line up that wall against the display here, kind of line it up, right? Just like that. Now I got a frame of reference to the real world. And as I start to move around, let's say that the worst happens. Let's say I fall off the stage, and it's like, oh no, I'm in the audience. And now all of a sudden the audience gets all hostile, like they all start, getting in my face here and try to make me dizzy. Give me your worst. Let's see what you got here. I'm not even seeing anything. You guys aren't even trying. All right, well, now I can still see the display. Now, as long as I can see that display, you can try to block my eyes, but look at the size of that display. It's huge. I can see through your fingers, too, so that's really not helping you. This is really, I've had, this isn't bad, but I've had better groups than this. Really have. Okay, so you'll notice I'm not losing my sentences. I'm not losing my place. I'm not really being overly distracted by any of this. And that's because I'm locked onto that display. Right? And that serves as like a reality anchor. And you don't need something big like that. You know what you can do too? Is if like maybe you have a table or a desk in your environment, you can line it up with like this, the side of the stage here, right? Which is, something that's about the same height. And you can lock onto this, and it's to give you a frame of reference. It's a reality anchor for the real world. And if you have this, it's going to make you feel more stable when you're in VR. Okay? You also have, you also have the ability to switch from a room scale experience to a stationary experience pretty effortlessly. Like, let's say I'm up here and I'm like, I got another event after this, and I'm already tired. I've been hosting too much. I gotta slow down, right? What I can do now is I can sit down at this point if I want to, right? I go up to the edge of my Guardian, right? And I stick my hands out like this and make sure I got enough room for my head. And as soon as I move my head through it, that pass-through camera goes off, and I hear that double tap thing is coming, right? That's gonna be cool. I haven't tried that yet. Anybody else tried that double tap thing yet? Where you get the pass-through? You've tried that? Is it awesome? All right, cool. I'm looking forward to trying this. But all right, so let's say let's try it that way. Double tap, and now I can see the real world, right? Now I look over and I see my chair there, and I'm like, oh, there's my chair. Oh, and here's my coffee. I take my coffee. That's good. That's good to have that. And I go over to my chair here, and then I sit down and I line up my, my circle there, and I press that blue button saying I want to have a stationary experience. Now, not only am I going to still be in VR, or when VR comes back in view, I'm going to find I'm still in Altspace. I never left. The only thing is now my avatar is down here, so I press down on that left thumbstick, I pop back up, and everything's fine. And this works in the other direction. Like there's one time I'm moderating this event and I felt like getting up and walking around. It's a big deal for me, so I get up and I think I'm just stepping into my Guardian, as usual. But occasionally your Quest can lose your Guardian, changing light levels and your headset can't figure out where it is quickly. So it just asks you to draw a boundary. No big deal, right? But when you've got 2 minutes left of the event and you're not sure if you can get back in, it's a big deal. So I start drawing my boundary out, right? And I'm like, oh no, of all the days I had to pick to moderate for an admin, or why did it have to be today? I don't know. And why is my play space so big anyway? I don't understand this. All right, so then all of a sudden I close the loop and the grid comes up out of the ground, right? And I find that not only am I still in VR, but I'm still in Altspace. I never left. All anybody sees when you do this is your avatar frozen like this. I always pause there, right? And there's always that moment. And one time it actually happened. I lost my connection, and people in the audience like this are looking up there going, look at him. Look at him up there. He's so into it. He's so devoted. He's so into the role. He's got such range, right? It was pretty funny. I came back in a couple of minutes. It was no big deal, but it was a good laugh. It actually disappeared then. And I was like, because there's dramatic pause, and then there's that. That was like a prolonged kind of thing. All right, so, what's the place there? Okay. There's another cool thing you can do with the Guardians, and that just isn't really useful as much as it's just kind of cool to do. If you go up to the edge of it, right, and you stick your head through it, you activate that pass-through camera just by moving your head out of the boundary, right? If you do this really slowly, you'll be able to see both realities at the same time. And this is going to enable you to see all the Altspace avatars in your home environment. So like, if for example, like you'll get a real sense of the height, you'll see that avatars are about 6 feet tall, right? They're also more wide than you would think. And you don't really realize this until you see them in a familiar environment, like your living room or your office or wherever you do VR from. When you see those avatars in that familiar environment, it is pretty cool. All right, now the great thing about the Quest is it just works, right? Now, but there's a lot of accessories that can make it work even better, right? For example, you got the earbuds that kind of angle down from the side there. I don't know what I look like when I'm in VR, but I like to think when I'm wearing these things, I look fancy. And when I got mine, I had already been used to the Quest for a while, and I already thought it was a great sound experience. It really is good. There's no feedback or anything. It's got rich sound. And I plugged these in, and I didn't know what to expect. So I went to the campfire. When I got there, there's a breeze in the campfire. There's like a wind there. Nobody told me that. I walked over to the fence there, and it was like the sound of a river, and I couldn't believe that. Turns out there's a lot of ambient sound in Altspace that makes the experience way more immersive. So earbuds like that, they're definitely worth giving a try. You also have these face inserts from VR Cover. And these are great. They can make your headset more comfortable. A lot of people think the Quest isn't comfortable, and I've known people who have returned the Quest because of this. And Oculus doesn't advertise this enough, but there's a breaking in period that happens with your headset. You got to give yourself time to get to know your headset. Give yourself time for your headset to get to know you. And the oils in your face will actually soften the insert, and the balance will change in the first week or two. And a lot of people, when they first get it, they're like, this isn't comfortable at all, and I got to modify it. I got to get an external battery pack. I got to get counterweights. I got to get all this stuff. And you can do that, but don't do it until after the first couple of weeks until it's broken in. Because if you do it too early, and then the head gets broken and the balance is going to change again, and you're going to be one of those people who think, oh, the Quest is so front heavy. Oh, the Quest is so uncomfortable. And it's not true. Once it's broken in, you're going to get to a point, right, where you don't feel it. It's just going to be your eyes. And the same way that these just become your hands, it's the same thing, right? So just, give it some time first before you go and modify it. Right. This way you don't end up, one of those people who, think that, right? And we can maybe change that bad reputation there that it's getting for that. All right. Now, also you have the prescription inserts that you can get to protect your lenses and protect your headset. That can be pretty expensive if they get scratched. You can also get this travel case here, and that'll help protect your device. Because listen, you got to take good care of the device, because if something happens to it and you're spending a lot of time in VR and you've made friends in here, right, you're going to experience this. It's not going to be like losing your toaster. You leave it on the counter and the sunlight comes in and damages it. Right, what's going to happen is you're going to register this as an actual loss, right? And I've seen people go through that. It's not cool, so take good care of your equipment. All right, and if you want to try any of these products, you can find them by going to altvr.com and by going up to where it says channels, and they'll take you. When you press on that, you'll see all Altspace event channels, and among them, down toward the bottom, you'll see Ravenhall events, like it says in the sound booth up there, and that'll take you to our event page. And on our event page, you'll see all these products listed on the left-hand side if you want to give any of them a try. You'll also see a join Discord button if you want to hang out with us, ask questions, get in touch with us. And you'll also see the most important button on the internet, the subscribe button. And when you press this, right, I'd like to tell you there's music and all this stuff, but all it really does is it lets, Altspace know that you enjoy our content, and we don't get paid to do this, so it's a nice way to say thank you if you enjoy yourself here today, And so now we are going to be opening up for the questions or comments. Maybe you've tried an accessory that I haven't mentioned yet, see here. So we are going to make the raise hand button appear on your lower right as if by magic, right? And then I'm going to see your name appear on the list there when you press on that, and I'm going to call on you, and I'm going to get to feel like a radio host when I call you out your name, like you're on the air, say it like that, right? And while we're waiting for it to fill up, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can find us at _ Uncanny Valley. I know it looks like 1 underscore, but it is actually 2. All right, let's see, who do we have here? We have Aaron. Aaron, you're on the air. There we go. See, I told you I could feel like a radio host. Where are you, Aaron? What's up? You're right in front of me. Oh, that's convenient. How's it going?
Yeah, I was just saying, do you know any like sort of work around in the world builder? I know the color wheel on like some objects doesn't seem to really work. I talked to some other people, they said that's just been an issue for like a month or whatever.
Yeah, that is a known bug, and I know that they are working on it. So we'll hopefully that'll come back. However, it doesn't exist for PC users. So if you have a friend that's on 2D, right, like it looks like Board is in 2D right now, and if since he's bored anyway, you can give him a terraformer in your world and ask him to change the color. That's one way some people are getting around it. It is kind of a pain though. So a lot of people are just waiting for for that to get solved.
I had like some sort of glitchy behavior where like if I stuck my hand through the color wheel, it sort of seemed to like
what it
change
is.
The color to where it was a bit weird.
You know what it is? It's Altspace, right? It's an ever-evolving platform, and when they make changes and they roll things out, they do it with us still in here, and that can give rise to some pretty interesting behaviors, all right? And so there are going to be like issues that pop up like that from time to time. There have been worse bugs. That's like it's inconvenient, it's kind of annoying, but it's one that we can live with for a little while. All right, let's see, who else do we have here? We have they don't show me the full name, so it's Master Ma, and I don't know the whole name, so let's see if we can find you. Where are you, Master Ma? And it's Master M.A.
right
something.
Here. I'm in
There you go. Hey, man. Oh, Master Max. I should have figured that out. I was a little off. What's up, Max?
Yeah. I have a question about, I'm on the Oculus Go,
Yeah.
and I have a question. Can you do like the same hand movements like you can do on an
You
Oculus
can do
Quest
some of
and
them.
Oculus Go?
You can do some of them.
Yeah,
Squeeze
like
your trigger button right now. The trigger button you've got, and then it'll give you a thumbs up there, right? Now, touch your thumb to the trackpad. And you're going to close your fist there. Now hold your fist out perfectly straight, and then boom, fist bump, just like that. All right, fist bump back. All right, now we are having an event coming up in about an hour called Go Time. You might want to check that out. We got a lot of tips in there, that'll make being on the go a lot easier to deal with, because there are some problems being on the go. So just teleport it backwards again. Did you guys see that? Hand over the head, backwards. Isn't that cool? All right, let's see. What else do we have here? We have Need for Speed. I think that's the name. I'm guessing because it showed me the full name. All right, Need for Speed. Where are you at? I don't see it. You're moving too fast. I can't see you. Need for Speed, where are you? No? Are you waving your hand there? Need for Speed? All right, hey, what's up? What's going on?
I know you said this isn't like a job and you don't get paid, but if I wanted to do like presentations, is there like an application for that? Or how would I?
Oh no, anybody can put on an event in Altspace anytime they want. It's never been easier to set up. If you have a cool idea that you'd like to see, like maybe let's see, we got all these bricks around here on the walls, right? If you want to have, an event about virtual bricks or bricks in VR, or maybe floorboards for cool stages or something like that. All you would have to do is write Altspace events with a capital A and a capital E at Microsoft.com. Tell them about the event you want to put on, and they'll help get you started. Or you can just ask around the campfire, and they'll help get you set up. But anybody can put on an event in Altspace anytime. So feel free to check that out. And there's that. All right, do we see? I got some more here, but I know I'm a little bit over on time. If we're going to be taking everybody flying in Altspace now, if you already know how to fly, feel free to come by and hang out and ask questions. It's a good time. And we also have these ships that you can fly that we call the Ravenhall Talon hovercrafts. Right? We're actually going to see one right now. We end all our events this way. I'm going to press this red button here. Right? And before I do, listen, if you've learned anything here today, please share it with those you come in contact with. If you're in a campfire and you see an avatar like this high off the ground, you walk up to them and you say, "What's wrong, little buddy?" And they look up to you and they go, "I'm on a quest and I'm stuck in the ground," right? All you have to do is tell them to press on that left thumbstick. They'll pop up and they'll feel better. You'll feel better because you helped somebody. And that's kind of how we help this thing, keep on going, right? So now I'm going to press this button here. Actually, if you guys want to help me press this button, I'm taking the stage blocker off so you guys can come on up here, and help me push this button, right? So I'm going to push it on 3. Now, when we push it, if you look out the window, right, you're going to see the ship come by, and you're going to learn, you're going to be able to fly this thing when we go off to the academy. Ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Push.
Ravenhall Talon aircraft en route to your position.
There we go. It's going on by now. All right, now if everybody joins me out in the back, it's going to come around, it's going to go over those trees, it's going to land in the backyard area. So if you join me out back here, right, we're going to pick it up. All right, and yeah, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go over to the Flight Academy. If anybody has any more questions, feel free to ask me there. That's cool. Should be coming down about now. Here it comes. Now it's gonna pop out a blue teleporter, and you're just gonna walk into that blue light, and then we'll be taken to the academy. All right, here we go.
Talon aircraft is now boarding outside for transport to the Raven Hall Flight Academy. Please exit the building and step into the blue light. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. You've been a great audience. See you at the academy.